Right, morning fellas, welcome back to another Villa on Talk video today. It's the 5th episode of Villa on Talk. Normally I do these on Monday, but of course we played on Monday, so I just thought I'd do one today. There's quite a lot to discuss this week, so coming up in this video, I'll be reviewing the West Ham draw on Monday, the El Ghazi and Tyrone Mings incident, the new third kit that's been released recently, the fine that Birmingham City have received after the punch on Jack Grealish back in March, previewing the upcoming Arsenal away game, and of course checking out your comments. Right, so I'm going to start by reviewing the Arsenal game. Now if you haven't already watched the video I did on that, check that one out after you've watched this one, but I've watched the 10-minute highlights from Villa's YouTube, and if you just watch that, it looks like quite an entertaining, end-to-end game. But when I was there, it didn't really, did the keepers really have too much to do? I don't think Tom Eaton really had to make too many spectacular saves. I know Fabianski in the West Ham goal did, to be fair, from the McGinn effort in the first half. He came out and punched a ball as well in the first half that took out El Ghazi, but he had a little bit more to do. But overall, I don't think either keeper had a fat lot to do in the game. I think Villa's defence was absolutely superb. I think Mings and Engels, I feel like I say it after every game, but they've just been fantastic. Another clean sheet, 2 in a row now at home. And this stat just emphasises that. Only 3 clubs have conceded fewer goals than us, 6, this season, and no side has kept more clean sheets, 2. That just shows how good we are defensively. And that's why it was 0-0. If we could go forward and score goals, we'd be fine this season, which I'll come on to now. Also, just quickly, we've conceded the same amount of goals as Man City. If you'd have said that at the start of the season, we've conceded the same as Man City 5 games in, you'd be happy with that, surely. I think the midfield did okay on Monday. I think McGinn and Grealish were good. I think I'll come on to Grealish a little bit later on. I think Marvellous obviously made his debut. I said it in the video. I thought he might come in for Douglas Luiz, because obviously Luiz was playing in Brazil in the international break. He might be a little bit tired, and obviously Marvellous is now fit again. So why not give him a shot? He did. In terms of his performance, I thought he was good. He gave the ball away a couple of times, but after he did that, he worked really hard to get it back, and he did on a lot of occasions. A lot of people, are likening him to N'Golo Kante, this hard-working defensive midfielder, and I think he is that, and I think he's a really good option to have. I know you can't judge him too much because, again, we haven't seen a lot of him, but will he start against Arsenal? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. I don't know who I'd start there over him or Luiz. I'm not too sure. But the issue is the front 3 for me. I really, really do worry where the goals are going to come from. I think both wingers were poor on Monday. Hotter, I think he gets the ball and he's just a little bit slow. He needs to be that little bit faster in decision making. Don't get me wrong, his passing's really good. He can pick out a pass. I know he picked out a pass to Grealish down the wing in the first half, and then Grealish fired one across to Wesley. Wesley probably should have scored there, but he's got an eye for a pass. I just think when he gets the ball, he lacks the ability to really beat his man. I think he's very, very one-footed. He cuts inside every single time, unfortunately. And I just think he's quite easy to read for a defender. Thomas from the Twitter comments says, Hotter was far too predictable on Monday. Only ever uses his left foot and cuts in from the right. Needs to be more creative and effective to have a real impact in the Premier League. I'd agree with that. I think I don't really know what he can do. Can he train his right foot? I'm not sure. I just think he needs to have more confidence going down the wing and really beating a man. Whether he's fast enough to do that, I'm not sure, but I just think I want to see a little bit more from Hotter. Big Nick, the VOT gaffer. Happy birthday, by the way, Nick, for Saturday. See you then, son. He says, we did okay on Monday, defensively solid. Just felt we rushed things when they were down to 10, and our decision making on the pitch was poor. Glad to see we had a leader in Mings and players pulling each other up if they were not doing their jobs. We've not had that for years. Now, that brings me nicely onto the Mings and El Ghazi incident, if you like. I didn't actually see this on the pitch. I think I was looking somewhere else or whatever, but it's all over Twitter and stuff. Now if you see the still images, it does look quite bad, but is it really? El Ghazi was probably in the wrong a little bit. Mings, if El Ghazi was doing something wrong which he wasn't tracking back, Mings is fully entitled to have a go at him, and I think that's absolutely fine. But to put your head back into him, El Ghazi, is that really on? I'm not sure. I think Neil Taylor came out today and said something quite interesting. He was like, in training, this happens a lot, and it doesn't happen in games, obviously, because it's in the public eye or whatever. But it happens a lot in training, and I think I'm not really too surprised at that. Obviously, it's behind closed doors, etc. So I don't think we should read into it too much. Is it really that deep? El Ghazi was probably in the wrong, and I know Mike Dean did look at VAR, and I know Mike Dean loves to send people off. So even it went to VAR and they didn't think anything of it, and I just think we need to gloss over it. Jack said after the game that they shook hands at half-time, made friends, whatever. So we just got to get over it now. It was a bit of a weird one, people comparing it to the Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer incident 10 years ago, whatever it was. It was nowhere near that bad. Come on, let's just dust it under the mat. We go again. They're mates now. Who cares? Just finishing up on the front three as well. I've talked about the wingers and my lack of confidence of them beating a man. Big Wes up top. I'm not going to judge him again. It's still very early on. 1 goal in 5 games. It's tough. I just think that one Everton game was where he really stood out. In the other 4 games, he hasn't done it for me. I think his movement for his goal at Everton was fantastic. And I don't think I've seen that, especially on Monday. I don't think I saw that. He's very, very strong. I just think the West Ham centre-backs did have the upper hand on Wesley, unfortunately, on Monday. I just think he needs to be more ruthless. And I think his decision-making as well, like towards the end of the game in the second half when they were down to 10 men, he had a chance. There was 2 men over on the far side. He was about 30 yards out and he just goes for the shot. And I just think that's where the decision-making needs to be better. There was 2 men over, as I said, and that would have been a better option. But yeah, I still have confidence in Wes. I'm still a fan of him. But he really does need to get firing at some point soon. Now I'm going to talk about Jack Grealish, who was a little bit of a talking point after the game. Got a Twitter comment here that says, "The undroppable Jack Grealish, discuss." Martin also says, "Do you think Grealish would be better utilised playing behind Big Wes? Feel playing on the left, opposition defenders try and drive him away from goal. A more central role would support Big Wes and offer more creativity." I still think Grealish is very, very deep, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, he runs his socks off and you could see it in the West Ham game. At the end of the game, I think a lot of the Villa players just collapsed to the floor because they had run their socks off so much. And fair play to Jack, but I just think when they were down to 10, I think a little bit of his passing wasn't on, but I just think he was good. Look at these stats from Sky Sports. He had the most touches, most passes, most opposition half passes, most duels for Aston Villa, and was the most fouled player overall. So I just think he is an unsung hero, kind of, but I think it is a tough one. I think, like that Twitter question says, is he undroppable? I think there is an element of that. I have talked about that in the past a little bit. I would have brought on Conor Hourihane 100% and I would have taken Jack off. I think I might get a little bit of stick for that, but you've got to be ruthless. He wasn't having... I know you look at those stats, but just watching the game, he wasn't having as much as an impact I think Conor would have had if he came on. McGinn and Hourihane going forward. Just think we lacked that creativity from Conor Hourihane when, West Ham players are tiring. A fresh legs of Conor Hourihane coming on, I think he was more likely to create something. Leave your thoughts on that because it is an interesting one. Grealish, is he undroppable, etc. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Jack had a chance late on in the game as well. Douglas Luiz whipped in a ball and his volley was just off point. But yeah, that's enough of the West Ham game. Moving on to the other talking points. The third kit. Okay, just before I start talking about it, I'm going to leave a poll in that top corner. Do you like the third kit? Let me know, yes or no. Because I think it's fairly divided on Twitter from what I can gather. Personally, not a fan. I mean, it was released in mid-September, which was a little bit weird. A little bit late, lads, but there you go. It was modelled by some of the legends that wore the kit that it was based on back in the 90s. So Sean Teal, Ian Taylor, etc. were wearing it. I'm not sure they're the best people to be modelling Kappa kits, if you know what I mean. But there you go. For me, I just don't think the colours go at all. I think the green, black is good, but the red just lets it down. The huge W in the middle. It's not even red. It's like a light orange. I'm not a fan. Again, the sort of geometric pattern going on the front of the shirt is, I know it's modelled on the windows in the whole end. I think that's a good idea, but not for me. I think the colour scheme lets it down. And Villa did announce actually that we'll be wearing it at Man City at the end of October. So that could be a fun one, getting absolutely battered in an awful kit. But it's Man City, they lost to Norwich, so we've got to stay positive. If we can do something good in that shirt, that'd be nice. But for me, not a fan. As I said, I think the overall sort of opinion is that it's sort of 60-40 people not liking it, and you can't actually buy this kit, you have to register your interest. Not sure what that's about, but AVFC Chats did actually say, everyone think the kit is quite nice. There you go. Opinion's yours, but nah, not for me. Right then, next talking point. Birmingham City have been fined £42,500 for the incident where the guy ran on the pitch and punched Jack Grealish back in March. Is it enough? No, probably not. I think that's lucky to an extent on Blues, but, what can you do? The FA, when they come up with these fines, they fined people before for the Huddersfield kit debacle, they fined them, they fined Millwall for the racism chanting, and the Millwall racism chanting, they charged them 10 grand, I think it was, which is less than the Huddersfield kit thing, less than this. So when it comes to the FA and fines, it's a free-for-all. It's pick a number out of the air and just hope for the best. So yeah, that's that. Not ideal. Last talking point, Arsenal preview for the upcoming game on Sunday. Just a quick one before we do start this. Check this out. So Mark says, anyone travelling by train to Arsenal on Sunday, be prepared as Man United, Liverpool and Wolves fans are all travelling to London on the same day. Likely to be mayhem. Now just look at this. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Arsenal and Chelsea are all at home on Sunday. All in London. Whose idea was that? The Wolves and Villa in London at the same time is probably not the best idea. I'm going on the coach, so it shouldn't be a problem. But London, Houston on Sunday. That'd be fun. But yeah, in terms of Arsenal, I think defensively, 100% they can be got at. David Luiz is a liability. Socrates as well. Just look at the Watford game on Sunday when they drew 2-2. I only watched the first half and then I turned off because I had to go and play football. But they look good in the first half. Aubameyang's class. They've got no Lacazette, which is good for us on Sunday. But defensively, Jesus Christ, they're absolutely appalling. They were trying to play the ball out from the back in the first half and it wasn't really working. Guendouzi gave the ball away and Watford probably should have scored. But they continued to do it in the second half, which is so naive. And they gave the ball away and Watford scored, and that just revitalised Watford, and you know they went on. David Luiz gave away a penalty, which David Luiz is so bad. Like he's so poor. He's so clumsy. I think he's been at fault for a lot of goals already this season. So if we can get Wesley on top of him, McGinn running at him, running around him, we could be in for a good day. I think we will score at Arsenal. But the Emirates, they're so good at the Emirates, to be fair. So I don't know. It is going to be a tough game. Of course it is. If it was at home, I might have a little bit more confidence, but at the Emirates, they're a good side, so I'm not sure. As I said, they've got no Lacazette, which is a huge boost for us. Nicolas Pepe, who was brought in the summer for like £70 million plus, I think. He hasn't scored yet this season. He hasn't quite found his feet yet. So we might be in for a bit of luck. I think defensively we're good, but Aubameyang is going to cause us major problems, probably. So I think it's going to be a tight game. I'll be buzzing with a score draw. I don't think that's the most unlikely thing to happen in the world. So let me know what you're thinking for the upcoming Arsenal game. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. Sunday, live on Sky Sports. It's going to be interesting, but we shall see. Whether he'll make changes, Luiz or Nakamba, I'm not too sure, but we'll see. So that's the end of this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Let me know all your thoughts on everything I've discussed in the comments below. Subscribe if you are new. Like the video, as I said. See you on Sunday against Arsenal. Up the Villa.